In this video, I'll show you how I assembled the Witch King's shoulder armor. I was able to find the shoulder patterns online and I'll share the link in the description below. I also had to slice that pattern so it could fit properly onto my 3D printer so I can easily print it and be able to assemble these shoulder armor. Now that all my pieces have been printed, I was now time to start cleaning them up and also to assemble all those pieces together. So in the next few clips, you'll see me assembling the shoulder armor. Now that my shoulder armor has been all assembled and connected, I can now use this as my main base and guide to recreate this into EVA foam. To help me recreate these armor pieces from 3D print to EVA foam, I need to go and start retracing all those 3D print pieces into a pattern. So to help me doing that, I went ahead and used painter's tape and did a few layers onto my armor piece of each of those individual pieces. So in the next few clips, you'll see me doing that, retracing all those patterns and cutting out those patterns so I can be able to use that to retrace them onto my EVA foam. Now that I have the template transferred onto painter's tape, now it's time to transfer them to some cardstock. So I have a nice sturdy template to be able to apply it on some EVA foam for the next steps. So the next few clips, you'll see me transferring the template onto some cardstock. Now that I have all my template pieces ready, now it's time to transfer them to my EVA foam pieces. The foam thickness I use to build the shoulders are half an inch thick of EVA foam. So the reason I use that thickness there is so I have a sturdy base for my shoulder armor. Meanwhile, for the decorative elements on the shoulder armor, I use a 1/4 inch EVA foam thickness. The reason I use that thickness is so it's not too bulky, but I'm still able to recreate those nice detailed effect onto the shoulder. Now that we have everything traced out, now it's time to get all of those pieces cut out and also be able to proceed to the next step of dremeling all of those pieces with my Dremel. Now that we have the pieces all cut out, we're now ready to start dremeling each of those pieces to have nice clean edges. And also on the thicker pieces, I need to remove some texture of the EVA foam so I have both sides to be clean. So to help me doing all this process here is I use my sanding bit to do all the cleanup. So you'll see in the next few clips, you'll see me doing all the cleanup of all those EVA foam pieces. Now that everything has been cleaned up and dremeled, now it's time to start re-adding all of those marker lines so I can easily do those V grooves and fold all of those pieces into the exact shape to match the character's armor piece. Now that all those V-grooves have been cut out on all my EVA foam pieces, now it's time to apply some contact cement in each of those V-grooves. Now that the contact cement has been applied in all of those V-grooves and is dry, now I'm able to bind all of those V-grooves together. So for all the thinner EVA foam pieces, this will allow me to give me the nice unique raised edge area like you see here. And for the thicker pieces, it will start giving me the shape of the armor pieces as well. So in the next few clips, you'll see me connecting all of those joints together. For the small decorative piece that's in the front, I need to make sure that it stays straight. To help me to make sure that piece stays straight with the raised edge areas, I create a small backing that will be able to connect to it. So when I heat form it, I'll be able to lay it flat on top of that piece. Once that was done, I applied some contact cement on the back of that decorative piece and onto the main green piece as well. Then I went and glued them together to make sure they're in place, and also my raised edge are nice visible as well. And I use my X-Acto knife to remove the excess. For my top decorative piece, I need to make sure it's uncurved. So right now it's curving inwards. I need to make sure it curves outwards a bit so I can fit properly on top of my top shoulder piece. Once that was done, I was able to retrace that shape onto that piece. So when I apply to glue it, I have a nice guideline to know where to apply it properly on that shoulder piece. To make sure that my pieces looks clean and looks like metal pieces before I assemble all of them together, so it doesn't look like it's bulky EVA foam pieces, I use my Dremel to clean all of those edges where the V-groove connected, but also grind all the edges to be more of an angle, so it gives more of the look of a metal piece. So in the next few clips, you'll see me doing all of that cleanup on all the pieces and even on the decorative pieces as well of the armor for the shoulder. Once I finish sanding all of those edges, I then swap the sanding bit for a stone bit to go through all of those pieces and just polish all of those edges to be even smoother. Now that everything has been cleaned up, we're now ready to start assembling the shoulder together. So in the next few clips, you'll see me applying contact cement to all the pieces and connecting them together. And voila, now we have a shoulder fully assembled. For the small decorative piece that's in the front, I need to make sure the whole shoulder has been assembled, so I'll be able to gauge and distance the piece to be well centered in there. Once I got that centered and marked properly, I just went at kind of like cement and then applied it there too as well. And then I just basically glued those two pieces together like so. Now that the shoulder has been fully assembled, I went and used my Dremel again just to clean up all of those edges as you see here, so it looks more like a more uniform piece that's been connected, so I have nothing that sticks out and looks more seamless. Now it's time to heat seal everything of the shoulder armor. To help doing the heat seal is I used my heat gun and I went on all of the EVA foam pieces of the shoulder armor to make sure it's all well sealed. Now that the heat sealing has been completed, I went ahead and used some quick seal and I applied it on all of the seams, edges of the EVA foam and any gaps or defects in the foam to be smooth and sealed, because I don't want to have those defects be visible when I'll be applying the plastic dip in the later phase. Once that the quick seal has been fully cured and dried, I usually wait a good 24 hours. I went and then used my sandpaper at 400 grit and I went over all the areas where I applied the quick seal and I sanded all over those areas just to make sure they're nice and smooth before I proceed to the next phase. Et voila! We now have a shoulder armor ready for plastic dipping and for painting, which will be seen in the part 2 video.